Great morning, great morning, great morning. Y'all come on in, come on in, come on in. Hey, you guys, y'all come on in. Join me, join me, join me. Hey, Stacy, how are you, gorgeous? Now, I may not be able to see everybody's names and stuff and what y'all are saying, but y'all talk back to me, okay? So, you guys, hey, cousin Z, good morning. I did make it, girl. I passed out. And when I tell you I passed out, honey. That good food that we had, honey. And that coffee that topped it off, baby, it was over for me. So you guys, listen, I'm leaving Tampa. I'm leaving later than I had planned, but God's plans are always so much better than ours, right? And I wanted to share this with you, okay? But do me a favor, go ahead and share this broadcast because I'm not going to do the normal worship service today. I'm not going to do that. So I want you guys to go ahead, get the word out so that people can get on and get what it is that God is downloading in me right now. Because I won't be doing the regular worship service. So go ahead, share the broadcast, and let me know when you've shared. Hey, Sheeta. Hey, Jackie. My God, God is doing some great and amazing things. Bear with me if it like drops down because me and this thing was having some problems today. Okay, that's what I'm gonna tell y'all. We was having some problems, but go ahead, share, share, share. Good morning, cousin. I am Z. I definitely am, and I'm gonna try not to operate in road rage. You guys come on in, baby. This word blessed my soul today, honey. It blessed my whole soul when God released this to me today. Let's see if I can tighten this up. Okay, hopefully that'll do it. There we go. That's a little bigger. Good morning, Mama Daddy. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. So y'all listen. This God that we serve, this God that we serve, is so incredibly amazing. And I've just been watching him. And this is the thing, and I think this is why he said this. Listen, sometimes, and I read this, Mike wrote this. Baby, let me tell you something. That John Michael Massey, no, he be writing some stuff. God gives him some amazing downloads. If you do not follow John Michael Massey, go follow him on Facebook, right? When I tell you that God gives him some amazing downloads that just will bless your socks off, he absolutely does. So, Mike, I call him Mike. Mike was talking about how we get caught up in the battles that we're in. Now, I've been talking about battles and talking about how we view things and how we approach things and all of that. But he said something very significant. He says that when we focus on the attacks of the enemy, then we miss out on what God is doing, the blessing of what God is doing, which is absolutely how you begin to kill those saboteurs, right? So, this morning God said, don't wait until the battle is over. Shout now. Why? Your shout in the present for what you're going to see in the future is your acknowledgement that the future that you are going to see is already here. Let me say that again. Your shout now in the present for what is going to show up in the natural in the future is your acknowledgement, your agreement that what's going to happen in the future in the natural has already happened now in the spirit. It is your acknowledgement that once it is done in the spirit, it is done and it settles it. It is your recognition that what God is doing in your life is so great and so amazing that even when you face battles, even when you face attacks, even when you face obstacles, even when you face those things are not what's most important. What most important is that you know you already have the victory. In the church, I remember we would sing a song called Victory is Mine. Victory is mine. Victory today is mine. I told Satan, get thee behind me because victory today is mine. Your shout now is your declaration, your warning sign to the enemy that you know that the victory is already yours. Don't wait until the battle is over. Shout now. When, my God, okay. When Joshua, God told Joshua to march around Jericho. He said, march around Jericho. He said, I want you to march around 7 times, right? So, he marched around 7 times, on one day. Then they did it on another day. Then they did it on another day. Then they did it on another day. On the last day when they did it, he said, when you march around the last time, I want you to have them blow the shofar, the horns, right? And shout. Now, the walls were still standing when they shouted, but the shout was what brought the walls down. Some of you are waiting for the walls to fall, the breakthrough to happen, to shout, but I came to tell you, don't wait until the battle is over. Shout now. Your shout is your breakthrough. Your shout is your release. Your shout is your agreement with God. Your shout will create the very thing that you're waiting to see. But you got to be able to shout now. Yesterday, I had the honor and the privilege of speaking at New Beginnings Ministries in the Orlando area. It's not in Orlando, but in that area, the Orlando, Daytona area, right? And so, as I was speaking to the women, there was something that God did in me. We in church will get caught up in all of the protocols and stuff, and I had to tell them, I said, listen, y'all, I said, I'm not getting ready to go through all the protocol. It's not because I don't know it, but God is doing something. And sometimes you got to go with what God is doing over protocol. Sometimes you got to go with what God is saying over permission. Sometimes you got to go with what God is releasing over what's comfortable. See, some people are in a strange house. I didn't know the pastor and the first lady. I'd never met them, but what I did know was what God told me to do and what he told me to say. So when we understand that, we will stop being so concerned about getting in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. Listen, I'm going to do what God said do. And if I get in some kind of trouble, God is big enough to handle it. God is big enough to handle it. Yes, we are, cousin. That's why it's important for us to understand and to know the Jewish calendar, because then we'll understand the times and seasons of God. God's times and seasons don't change because somebody decided to change it on a calendar. God's times and seasons do not change. Mike, I just was talking about you. I told them about your word, your memory that you posted, right? And I told them to go follow you because that word is powerful. Yes, 5783. Yes, we are in that new year. We are already in the new year. So for those of you that are waiting for the new year has come. You waiting for what's already here. Good morning, Ray. So don't wait. Don't wait. So let me break it down for you just a little bit. I want to break it down for you just a little bit. There are things that you have asked God for, things that you've asked God to do, things that God has shown you, things that God has promised you, but you haven't seen it in the natural yet. In fact, it feels as though it's never going to happen. It seems like it's never going to manifest. But God said, don't wait until it shows up. Shout now. Yesterday, baby, I'm trying to tell y'all, I had a shout in my spirit. I had a shout in my spirit in that place. And I had a shout in my spirit for several reasons. Let me tell you something. The first lady had just had surgery. She had just had surgery. She wasn't supposed to be there, but she ended up being in the house. And they gave a little testimony service. They disrupted what they had planned to do something different. So instead of doing an icebreaker, they did an old-fashioned testimony service. And I was sitting there and I was listening to the testimonies of the women. I was listening to the things that God has done. The name of the conference was I Will Survive. I was watching as things unfolded. It's funny to me that we've been talking about the saboteurs and how the saboteurs are a part of our survival brain. It's our way of surviving, right? But God desires more. And that literally is what God allowed me to talk about. He talked about surviving, been hard pressed on every side, crushed but not destroyed. Listen, let me tell y'all something. You need to understand that it is great that you have survived. But will you build a memorial to your survival, or will you go ahead and thrive? Will you build a memorial to your survival, or will you go ahead and thrive? See, listen, I'm shouting for the thrive, right? I'm shouting for what God is already done that I'm waiting to see the manifestation of. I'm shouting for my husband showing up and sweeping me off my feet. I said sweeping me off my feet. I'm not talking about a fairy tale sweeping me off my feet, but I'm talking about a genuine, that man just is so amazing, it just blows my mind. Listen, I'm telling you, you don't wait till the battle is over, shout now. Don't wait till the promise arrives, shout now. Don't wait until it's all finished, shout now. Because it is in your shout that you create an acceleration of the process. Your shout will create an acceleration of the process because it's an indication that you believe. There's a song, y'all know I love songs, right? There's a song that says, I believe that it's my season. It's my season, I think that's right. I believe that it's my time. It's my time. There's a breakthrough. I think that's what it says. Listen, God is in the room. Y'all, do you know how much God loves us? He loves us so much. He loves us so much. Knew everything about us and everything that would transpire in our life. Every decision that we would make, and knew how He was going to use it for our good. So much so that before, and I said this to my cousin yesterday, this thing is deep to me, it's deep. Before He said, let there be light, He already had a plan for us. Come on, somebody. Before He separated the light from the dark, He already had a plan for us. Before He separated the land and the water, He already had a plan for us. Before He created the animals, He already had a plan for us. Like us, like not just human beings. I'm talking about you specifically, me specifically. He already knew. He knew my name. He knew the circumstances of my birth. He knew everything that I would encounter. He knew that, in September 30th of 2021, my daddy would die, and then that He would reveal my other daddy in January of 2022. He already knew all of that. He knew it. God knew it before He said, let there be light. He knew everything concerning my life. Everything. And He still made me. He knew I would be married and divorced 5 times, and He still made me. And He still called me. What? Baby, you need to know that everything about you, God has seen it and tells you anyway. I don't know about y'all, but that's exciting to me. It's exciting to me that God loves me enough in spite of, not because of, in spite of. He loves me enough in spite of to still choose me, use me. Huh? That's the kind of God that I serve. Before He said, let there be light, He saw me. He saw me in the darkness. He saw me in the black. He saw me before He said, let there be light. He saw me. Looked out into the future and saw me. Looked out into the future. But He did it anyway. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to tell you something. That's a special kind of love. And in fact, it's such a special type of love. Like, I'm like, God, like, I want to love like you. I want to love people even though I see that they're going to disappoint me. I want to love like you, God. I want to love people even though I see they're going to talk about me. I want to love like you, God, where I can love people even though I know that they're going to betray me. I want to be like you, God. I want to love people even though I've already seen the end result. I know we won't be friends forever. I know we won't be together forever. But God, I want to love like you. I want to love in a way that is encouraging and uplifting. I want to love without agenda. I want to love that is free and liberating. I want to love in a way that allows a person to know that if don't nobody else love them, I love them. And whatever they do with that love, that's on them and they're accountable. scary because, you know, you run the risk of being disappointed. You're going to be disappointed. You run the risk of being hurt. You probably will be hurt. There'll be some hurt that comes. It's okay. It's a part of the process because people are going to people. But God's people need to God. I know, God, that all of these things can and will happen. But God, I want to love anyway. Listen, in our human mind, our thought is, why start a thing that you know is going to end? But what we miss out on is what God does in the process. We miss that God is doing something in the. Are we always thinking about the like we want to make sure that everything is perfect and everything is this and everything is that, but life is messy, baby. Life is messy. It's not clean cut. It's not straight lines. It's curves and hills and winding and crossing back over. It's all of those things, and it is beautiful. I did my vision board yesterday at the event. There was a vision board segment, and y'all know I'm really big on hearing the voice of God for the vision. And God really told me to just focus on my overall life. Excuse me. Focus on my overall life, what I want my life to feel like, what I want my life to look like, right? So there's some things that you know is going to be in my life. Travel is going to be in my life, baby. I'm going to travel, right? I'm going to be on these streets, honey, and in these airways, okay? And on this water, honey. I'm going to be on all of it, okay? But also just the feel, what it feels like to be. What do you want it to feel like to be you, right? What do you want it to feel like, right? And so what I've noticed is God has been changing my feel. Oh, y'all might catch this tomorrow. Y'all might catch this next week. Some of y'all gonna catch it today. God is changing my feel, what it feels like to be me, right? How I feel in my skin, how I feel pursuing my passion, how I feel completing my assignment, how I feel. And when he changes your feel, he also changes the look. Hey, listen. Let me say this. I'm always daring, right? I'm always daring. I dare to wear things that other people wouldn't wear, to do things that other people wouldn't do, to say things that other people wouldn't say. But let me tell you something. That jumpsuit I had on yesterday, with them shoes, babe, let me tell y'all, I felt like I want to see them. You see, we wait till we get to a place to experience the vibration, but when we are experiencing that vibration, when we're operating in that vibration, when we're operating on that level, we draw everything to us. We draw opportunities to us. We draw relationships to us. We draw all the things that we desire to us. And my commitment to God is, God, I just want you. I want you, God. I want you. I want to do what you called me to do. I want to fulfill my purpose, God. Like, I'm seeking ye first the kingdom of heaven and all its righteousness. And then I know that everything else is going to be added unto me. But God, listen, I know what I see myself looking like. I know what I see myself looking like. Listen, and it ain't got to be all of this designer stuff. Now, I like designer stuff, some of it, but it ain't got to be all the designer stuff. Because for me, it's about a look and a feel when it comes to fashion. It's about a look and a feel. It's about operating in who you are. Listen, y'all know I'm free flowing, right? So I love things that are free flowing, but I also like things that are fitted. So when you put a fitted with some free flowing, baby, you all up in my lane. I love jewelry. I love bling. I love shining. Yeah. I love shining, right? I love color. I'm bright because I'm like sunshine. Like I'm a breath of fresh air. I'm sunshine with a breath of fresh air, right? So all of those things are part of who I am, my personality, my identity. And there have been times in my life when I've allowed other people to dictate what I'm supposed to look like and how I'm supposed to show up. This is not one of them. I'm in a season of my life where I'm walking fully in who God has created me to be, unapologetically. I'm going to be free flowing. I'm not always going to follow protocol. I'm going to break rules. That's who I am. God has created me like like that, right? And not just for the sake of breaking rules, but listen, I'm going to break them. I'm probably going to break them. If it's a rule, it might get broken. But listen, know this. Know that I'm not just breaking rules randomly, but I'm not afraid to break them. See, many people have an assignment from God, but they're afraid to break rules. And because they're afraid to break rules, they won't do what God said for them to do because it goes against the rules. I'm not talking about being lawless, right? I'm not talking about being lawless at all. But I'm talking about understanding that there are times when God will have you do something that don't line up with some arbitrary rules that someone somewhere created, particularly as it relates to religion. So I just understand that as a liberator, as someone who comes to set the captives free, that I'm going to do that at all costs. Even when people don't understand, they don't get it, they don't like it, I'm going to do it because it's my assignment. And listen, I don't have to wait until everything is done and everything is perfect and everything has shown up in order for me to shout. And what I know for sure and for certain is this Christmas is going to be a different kind of Christmas. You know, yesterday as I was doing my vision board, normally when I do a vision board, I struggle with finding words, right? That's my struggle. I struggle with finding words, which is one of the reasons that I do a digital vision board, because I can find all the words that I want to say exactly what I wanted to say. But yesterday, God said, no, touch the magazine, do the mag. I said, okay, God. So I did. And I kept seeing all of these words that were indicative of, like, my life and what I'm seeing and how I wanted to look and all of that. I also saw images that represented what I desire and what my focus is. I've made some very deliberate decisions based on what I want my life to look like. You know, I do this exercise in my classes where I tell them, I said, okay, I said, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? When you're gone, when you've taken your last breath, when they've embalmed the body or cremated you, whichever one you want, when all of that is transpired, what is it that you want people to say about you? When they open up the floor for people to give a brief testimony, a brief word of encouragement, a brief whatever, what is it that you desire for people to say about you, your life, their experiences with you? What do you want people to say? And if you can get clear on that, and you can get clear on your life, if you live your life in a way that leads to the final outcome that you desire, then you will find yourself making any necessary adjustments. Now, for me, there's some things that I've always wanted. Like, I love family, but I have not always been in a position to be able to be there. You know, when someone died or someone got married or someone graduated, haven't always been able to, or haven't always chosen and prioritized spending time with family, right? But I'm in a different season. I'm in a season where family is incredibly important to me. And it became even more important after my daddy died. When daddy died, like, that really let me know, man, life is short and fleeting. Even though he lived a long, full life, he lived to 82, right? But I didn't maximize my time with him. I didn't. And many times the money wasn't right, or the transportation wasn't right, or, you know, there was something else. But I said, in this season of my life, I want to be more deliberate and intentional in how I move as it relates to family. So yesterday, when I was in the Orlando area, you know, of course, I had some coffee for my cousin, but I wanted to make some time just to see her, right? Lay my eyes on her, hug her, let her know I loved her. I just spent a little family time because it's one of the things that she was always, cousin, we got to do better. You know, we need to plan to meet and spend some time together. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But it was always something, right? But we created some times and some moments where we were able to spend some holidays together where she didn't go home, but she came to my house, right? And so that was a blessing and that was beautiful. But yesterday was different. Y'all may say, what was different about it? It wasn't a holiday. It was just a Saturday. But on just a Saturday, as I was leaving the women's conference, I reached out to my cousin and said, hey, what are you doing? Now, what you got to understand is my cousin is very scheduled. right? She's very scheduled. She schedules things. You got to kind of book stuff with her, right? So I knew there was a chance that I might not be able to get with her, but I said, let me go ahead and try. If nothing else, I can just meet her and get her coffee, right? But she was like, cousin, what have you eaten? And I was like, no, I haven't. I was thinking about that. So we were able to go spend some time, eat together, talk, catch up, love on each other, do a little mini photo shoot. So when you see the pictures of me by myself, photo credit goes to Z's Photography. And just enjoy. Now, y'all may say, Dr. V, but what does that have to do with don't wait until the battle is over? Shout now, listen. You don't have time to wait until your finances are all in alignment and everything is perfect and everything is lined up and everything is this. No, Sometimes the shout is making sure that you're able to spend time with your family. Sometimes the shout is intentionally adjusting your schedule. Sometimes the shout is making time and room for those that you love when otherwise you would just be running. I'm real good at the run, right? I'm good at running, doing multiple things, but I realize that that's that restless saboteur, right? Always doing, always going, always da 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 da. But it's so that I don't have to sit down and be still. But God had me in a season of stillness that allowed me to get comfortable with being still. And now I'm deliberate with my time, with my actions, with what I do. It's not always planned out weeks or months in advance, right? But it's spur of the moment. I'm like, hey, I'm about to pull up on you, right? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you'll know that you were on my mind, and like I thought about you. Okay. So the shout is in living life fully. The shout is in showing up fully. The shout is in taking full advantage, right? And knowing that God has already orchestrated your path and He already knows everything about every stop you're going to make, every decision you're going to make, everything you're going to do. That's something to shout about. Today, my agent said, hey, we need to schedule a time to talk. And I said, well, listen, I'm coming through Atlanta, so, if you want to connect, we can connect in person, and we can talk about the strategy and what we're going to do and what's next, right? And so we're going to do that. But then my brother is also there. So I said, hey, brother, I'm going to be coming through. Wanted to see if I can see you. Like, I'd love to see you meet Keisha and the girls. Sure, sis. So we set it up last minute, but we set it up, right? And so I get to see my brother, y'all. I love my brother. I love my brothers, and I love my sisters. Um, but it's something about Craig, y'all. It's something about my brother Craig, and I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to lay eyes on him. I can't wait to hug him, and meet his family. This journey, I have to shout on this journey. And I have to shout because everything hasn't happened on my time schedule and as I'd like for it to have happened. I'm so intentional that I'm determined that I'll get to know my nieces and nephews, that, I'll get those who desire, and those who don't, it's okay. You got to be okay with people not being okay with you or not wanting to get to know you or not wanting to spend time with you. Like, you got to be okay with that, and I'm okay with that. But I want to be able to be in their lives. I want to be able to show up differently in their lives. I want to be able to have them know me, though I came along, later. I wasn't there from their birth, right? But I know what I want. I know how I want my life to look. I know how I want to do family. And so I am deliberately and intentionally creating the life that I desire. At the holidays, there's a movie called It's a Wonderful, what is it? It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. The one with James, can't think of his last name. But it's not just a wonderful life for me, it's a wonderful lifetime. Listen, I'm grateful for every moment of my lifetime because it has positioned me to be where I am in this moment of my life and to be the person that I am. You know, I'm real clear and I understand that the person that I am today is not the person that I was in the past. And I'm okay with that, right? Because we ought to always be evolving. You know, it's interesting that Sarah Jakes Roberts, and Women's Initiative Women's Ministry is evolved. I'm a firm believer that we ought to, as humans, always be evolving. And as kingdom citizens, definitely evolving. Evolving to meet the challenges of the time, evolving to meet the challenges of our personal life, evolving in our identity because we're getting a greater understanding of who we are and who we've been created to be. We ought to always be evolving, right? The only way that you're going to truly live a life of thriving is if you are evolving, right? Because in order to thrive, you've got to shift and make adjustments, and you've got to become more of who God created you to be. You've got to become the solution to the problem. You've got to be able to not just see the problem, talk about the problem, complain about the problem, but you've got to become the solution to the problem. I can't solve everything, right? But that I can solve, I'm solving. Can't solve everything, but I'm the solution for a lot of people with a lot of things. So I don't wait until I arrive. I don't wait until I've gotten there. I don't wait. Listen, I shout now. I shout because, you know, I'm not saying that I've already arrived or I've already achieved it, but there's one thing I do. Forgetting those things that lie behind, I press on toward the mark of the high calling. Now, if I can't do nothing else, I can do that. I might not have attained it yet. But what I can tell you is I'm not stuck on what it was, who I was, what had happened. I'm living my life fully in the present, in anticipation of the future, but not allowing the future to dictate whether or not I shout. Don't wait till it all comes together. Shout now. Why? Your shout releases into your hands the things that God has stored up for you. So I'm not going to wait until No More Sabotage 1 and 2 concludes this week, right? So I'm doing No More Sabotage Part 1, and I'm doing Part 2, which is moving from surviving to thriving this week. Part 1 on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Part 2 on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? So you can do a Part 1 and Part 2 all in the same week. But I'm shouting now. Do you know why I'm shouting? Because I'm getting ready to impact people's lives, and I'm going to help people get unstuck. And I'm going to help people stop sabotaging themselves on their journey, right? I'm going to map this thing out and shout for the people who will get free from themselves, their minds, their torment this week. But I'm shouting today. Now, it doesn't happen until Wednesday and Thursday, but I'm shouting today on Sunday. I know it's some days in advance, y'all, but listen, let me tell you, I'm shouting now. I'm shouting now because I already know the victory is won. I'm shouting now because I already know they're free. I'm shouting now because I already know the people who are supposed to be there will be there. I'm shouting now, and you ought to shout now. You ought to shout now because God has chosen you. God has selected you. God has sent you a solution. You've been praying to God, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how in the world I'm going to get around this. I don't know how I'm going to stop doing this. God, I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how. Well, God is sending you. It's already sent the solution. Shout now for the solution that God has sent. And I encourage you to register now because the seating is limited, right? Register now. We got 10 spots in each class. Well, one of the classes I only have 9 spots. Part 2, because somebody's already they registered yesterday. Now listen, y'all not gonna see a bunch of flyers about it. I'm not gonna do all that because going to drop that link for you. It's the same link that you guys, if you did part one, it's the same link you registered on. You can do part one and part two. Part one and part two. Both in the same week and get a discount. You can do both of them for $140. You can use Afterpay. You can use 4 payments. You can do one part. You can do the second part if you need the second part. The first part if you just want to do the first part first and then see. But what I'm going to tell you is after you do the first part, you're going to want the second part. You just are. I'm telling you, you're going to want that second part. And you're going to want to do it close together because what it's going to do is it's going to maximize your ability to take the information that you've just gleaned and not only be able to apply it, but baby, make some massive leaps in your life. Okay. Additionally, I encourage you to do the VIP version. The VIP version gets you a 1-hour individual session with me. Now, if you do both of the classes and do the VIP with both of the classes, you get 2 1-hour sessions. Okay. You can't beat that. And listen, I'm telling y'all, it's crazy. It's crazy. Because what you guys are going to be paying for the VIP is less than what people would pay for just an hour session with me. Not an hour, 55 minutes. Okay. So :no one to make sure it's you that is giving you the strength and the incentive to continue on going forward and the empowerment, like to create the life that you desire. I'm creating the life of my dreams. Doesn't mean it's a life without challenges or problems. That's not the life of my dreams. The life of my dreams is the life where I'm able to spend the time I desire to spend with my family, spend time loving on my grandchildren, able to go a life where I'm operating in purpose and I'm living in purpose. Yeah, prepare to be sick of me. All of that. So you all just know that you can do that too. This isn't just for me. This is for you too. You can have that too. And just believe. Don't wait until the battle is over. Shout now. If you believe God, shout now. Shout now for what God has already promised you that He was going to do. And watch it show up in your life. Suddenly. God is a God of suddenlies, and I'm here for every single one of them. So listen, my prayer is this. My prayer is that the word bless you, that you're encouraged, and that you're able to move on because it is breakthrough season. Baby, I'm shouting for the breakthrough because I know it's here. Y'all, I'm just saying. If you like to bless the woman of God, it's Cash App $DRV Walters. Cash App $DRV Walters. Sow a seed, put a seed in the ground, and watch what God does with the seed. God is true to His word. He's not a man that He should lie. Look, you guys, I absolutely love you. Thank you for taking this drive with me. I've got some hours to go, but believe me, I'm excited about every bit of it. This is my me and God time, honey. That's why I love being on the road. Look, I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an absolutely amazing, incredible, and epic day.